Today we talk about rice cakes, fast digesting carbs, and how to track your macros on a homemade meal with lots of ingredients. Hello everybody, welcome to Equals No Alternatives episode 68. I'm your host Mike Vacanti, and I have 700 milligrams of caffeine flowing through my blood right now. I just lifted a back and legs day. I feel great. The jelly and bagel-ish thing I have are not part of the show. I'm just consuming my post-workout carbs after the 2 scoops of whey I just had. I'm in a hurry. We're gonna fly. I feel good. I feel really good about this episode and the momentum of the show going forward given the changes we're making. So, today, we are reviewing rice cakes. Organic cinnamon rice cakes. Gluten-free, vegan, non-GMO. I'm not going to get into all of the, who gives a shit about most of what's going on the front of this. Let's just talk about real-world application. Who eats rice cakes? In my mind, there are 2 specific uses for rice cakes. One is they are popular in bodybuilding culture. I assume primarily due to the fast digestibility of the carbs and the fact that you can put stuff like jelly and sugars that get into your bloodstream quicker on those and do tasty things with them. Post-workout, just during the day. I know people do crazy things with melted Quest bars and peanut butter and they can just be a fun base to building cool treats that are somewhat OTR. You see what I did there? I kind of like that. The other place, which is probably more important, less prevalent, but more important, is in the 14-year-old girl population who gets insecure, wants to go on a diet, has no idea what to do. This is kind of more pre-internet. Now it's a little bit easier, but and just eats 1 rice cake a day, or 1 rice cake 3 times a day, barely eats any calories, eats 0 protein, and starves herself essentially, which is just silly. You guys obviously know not to do that. Yeah, like Fruit Loops. 2 servings of Fruit Loops, 3 rice cakes. These are essentially equal. 80 calories per cake, which, these are kind of dense. There's nothing there, but anyway, know that if you're eating rice cakes, you may as well be eating Fruit Loops or any sugar cereal or any carbohydrate out there. These are actually, there's only 3 grams of sugar of the 20 carbohydrates in these. They primarily come from rice. I'm not going to get into the whole sugar debate right now. But as you know, on the pyramid of importance, I find carb type to be below energy balance, below getting enough protein, below getting enough fiber and vitamins and minerals, below having training intensity high, below having a diet that fits your lifestyle, below 16 million other things. If you obviously don't get all of your carbohydrates from sugar, but if you want to have some sugar, cool, have some sugar. If you like this significantly more than this, good. Let's go. For our alternative, I actually don't have any because I ate them all because they're so delicious. But you guys know I am the absolute worst of all time with recipe ideas, with cool, tasty, somewhat easy to make, hit your macro recipes. I'm gonna flash the macros on the screen for these protein pound cake. And it basically just tastes like sweet bread. Put the macros on the screen, we'll put the recipe in the description. My friend, client, previous client, we've done group coaching together, one-on-one coaching. I've trained her in the gym, I trained her son, awesome family, amazing woman, and made probably the most impressive physical and mental transformation I've ever seen of anyone I've met in person. I want to say 330 pounds at her peak, and now weight is much less relevant. Something in the 160 to 175 range. I'm really not sure, but she's killing it. She's amazing, and she cooks really good stuff. So 24 protein. We're not counting. It's cauliflower based. It's cauliflower protein powder. I'm not sure what else is in there, but because I categorize high fiber veggies as free, the carbs up here do not include the carbs in the cauliflower, just FYI. But yeah, that's delicious. You guys should definitely eat or make those, try them, eat them. They're transportable. I don't know if you have to keep them refrigerated. I didn't for many hours and then ate a ton of them. And yeah, they're amazing. All right. Question of the day. If you didn't watch yesterday's episode, link it up, go to yesterday's episode, go to the 5:43 mark. I get very upset at myself and the show in general, and as of episode 68, the question of the day comes from you. When someone signs up for my newsletter, they get access to my personal email, and oftentimes they send me personal emails. I spend a stupid amount of time emailing with just non-clients. But anyway, that's something I enjoy largely. But for every one of these I answer, I don't have to use my fingers and type this out. Kat says, "Hey Mike, my boyfriend and I decided to begin counting our macros. We've been mainly paleo." She goes on to say they go to a CrossFit gym where a lot of people there count their macros and receive great results. She read my beginner's fitness guide, which is awesome if you haven't read it. Just one quick question. I make all of our food from scratch. When using a recipe, and she provides an example, basically, how do you count your macros when you're making a homemade recipe that has a handful of ingredients, whether it's a chili or a soup or a baked good? Thank you for all your help, Katerina. So, how to track your macros in homemade dishes with many recipes. If you're making it yourself, which you are, it's relatively easy. Figure out the total ingredients. Do you have to count every ingredient? No, you don't have to count things that don't have calories, right? So things like salt, baking soda, baking powder, many other seasonings that you don't have to count. But anything with calories, yes, you should count. List out the total of those things, so whether it's a cup, 2 cups, whatever is in the recipe. Figure out the macros for each of those ingredients. Let's go with the chili example. We have chicken, cheese, sour cream, maybe. I have no idea I'm a terrible cook, but list out the total for each of those, add it all up, and you have the amount of proteins, carbs, and fats and calories in that entire dish. From there, if you are being strict and you're really counting and really tracking progress, what I would do is figure out the total weight of the dish, and then when you weigh, say it ends up being 2,000 grams of food, like you put it on a food scale, 2,000 grams, and then when you serve yourself up a portion, it's 300 grams. 300 divided by 2,000, you're eating like 1/6, 1/7 of the total. So then you look at the total protein, you're eating about 1/7 of that. Total carbs, 1/7 of that. Those are your macros for that meal. If you would rather estimate, if you're not tracking super anally, then I'm fine with that too. Just say, this is about a quarter of that recipe. I know the macros are right here. Boom. All right, Kat, I hope that answered your question. If it did not, leave a comment below. If you guys want to add anything to Kat's question of the day, go ahead and leave a comment below. Remember, your body is still counting macros, even if you're not.